Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell coming to you from my home in Arlington, Massachusetts. We've all been stunned lately by two suicides, one of Kate Spade, the other Anthony Bourdain, people who were loved, acclaimed for their work, one in fashion, the other in the culinary arts. People who, for all the world, looked like they had the world by the tail. Who seemed to be happy as could be, to have everything to live for. And yet both took their own lives. And, you know, it to me points up the importance of trying to lift the stigma that surrounds mental health. You know, 90% of people who commit suicide have an underlying mental illness. That's a staggering statistic, 90%. And most people who have mental illness do not get help. Most people, 60%, do not get help. The numbers go even higher depending upon what condition you're talking about. 90% of people who have substance use disorder do not get help. And so we're talking about the great majority of people who have treatable conditions do not get help. And the overriding reason is stigma. People don't want to acknowledge that they have these conditions. I don't know it for a fact, but I'm told, I hear that Kate Spade worried that her underlying condition, I don't know what it was, but I hear that she worried it might tarnish her brand. I don't know about Mr. Bourdain. I don't know what particular demons he was fighting with, but be that as it may, neither one of them got the help they needed because they ended up taking their lives. I mean, had they gotten the help they needed, they'd be alive today. You know, we're not good at predicting suicide, that's for sure, but had they been in a hospital, they couldn't have killed themselves, and they were not in active ongoing treatment. The point being that the need is tremendous to lift the shame and stigma that surrounds these conditions. It just so happens that I'm coming out with a book right now about my own crazy family, because I come from a crazy family, the making of a psychiatrist. Which is my attempt, you know, by being open, you know, walking naked down the street about my own crazy family, my family of origin, not the one that I'm living in right now, but my own family of origin, which was full of wonderfully crazy characters, of whom not only do I not feel ashamed, I'm very proud of them, but trying to say, look, there's no shame here, there's no shame in this. In fact, I shout from the rooftops about my crazy family. And I think that's what we ought to be doing. We ought to be finding the greatness in this, because the fact of the matter is, most interesting, talented people have one form or another of so-called mental illness, be it an anxiety disorder, a substance use disorder, major depression, a learning difference like ADHD or dyslexia, be it bipolar disorder. These are more the rule than the exception among highly talented, creative people. And to put it in hiding, to put it in under the stress of shame and stigma, so which only makes the condition worse, that then it snaps in a suicide, or it snaps in a gesture of violence, or it snaps in a drunken weekend where God knows what happens, or it snaps in a horrible divorce with all kinds of people getting terribly hurt. That's what happens when you stress the system with horrible shame and stigma and secrecy. It's time for us to be enlightened and take this, one of the last taboos, and say, come on, don't hide. You know, be proud of who you are. Life is messy, particularly among creative, interesting people. You know, I'm very pleased to tell anyone who wants to know I have both ADHD and dyslexia, and I'm proud of it. Yes, those come with problems. Yes, I can say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, you know, mess up in all various kinds of ways. But I also happen to be more creative, more inventive than the average person. And I've done things that most people couldn't do. This is my 20th book, for example. Most people can't produce 20 books. You know, and I'm not saying that by way of bragging at all. I'm saying that by way of citing that with challenges also come gifts. With various challenges also come various gifts. And Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain are just one of millions who were severely challenged, but also wonderfully gifted. And it's time for us to take the shackles off these people, the shackles of shame and stigma, and let them have the benefit of at least being open and honest, of at least saying, yes, I have these conditions, and that's not going to tarnish my brand, for goodness sake. Then at least let me be free to be who I am and get the help I need so that I don't kill myself one day, so that I don't blow up one day. Because I'm so tired of being constricted, walking around trying to be someone I'm not. That's what we need to do. We have the science. Now we have to band together to free these people, these wonderfully interesting, creative people, from the constriction that shame and stigma impose. We're advanced enough as a society to do that. To free these wonderfully interesting people from the terrible punishment of shame and stigma. Well, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell, wishing you all the best.